Hey guys, it's Jason Yee here from Train 2.0, and I wanted to share with you guys a story about the downhill coaches course. And I really want to actually share my story of how I got into coaching. And, like a lot of kids in Canada, I'm going to move myself over here. Um, I grew up with the dream of playing in the NHL, right? And, I really believe my coaches when they said that if I worked hard, trained hard, and listened to them, and ate healthy, all these things that are like the common knowledge, um, I would make it. You know, and so that's exactly what I did. I was that hardworking, healthy eating, coachable kid. Uh, and even though I knew that I was working hard and all these things, I still knew it was a long shot for anyone, and the odds just are not in your favor. And I was up for the challenge anyway. I was really determined to do it. But my biggest worry the entire time was if I ever get that chance to play in the NHL or just even be near there, could I even do it? So I just worked as hard as I could. I put my head down. I worked hard. I invested in my training, and I really did my best to ignore my fears, even though they were there, the whole time. It was pretty stressful the whole time, actually. And, one day those fears actually hit me straight in my face. Um, like I was a pretty good player. I always played rep. I was often captain of my teams. I made major midget. I rose up the ranks from junior A to junior B, then college. But I reached a point that where I realized that if things really just like continued the way they were going, um, I wasn't good enough to make the NHL. Like, despite always being the hardest worker on the team, it just likely wouldn't happen. And that sucked, to be honest. And so this was actually while I was at UBC studying kinesiology, and that time when that really hit me, I sat down and I wrote in my journal about how I would achieve my 5-year goal in 6 months. And this is a style of thinking called 10x thinking. And when you think in like 10x increments instead of 10% increments, it forces you to rethink your limits, like what you think is actually possible. And it forced me to look at the tools at my disposal, and I realized that even though nobody else was doing it, there was a better way for me to develop my game than what was like just happening all around me and what I'd experienced my entire life. And this is a tool that is now something that I call mechanics matching. And so what it was is I decided to study NHL players in games and then record their movements. And I actually chose the movements that I knew I couldn't do. Like, I looked at them, I'd be like, oh, like I don't think I can do that. Um, and so what I do is after isolating what they were, I draw out the pattern. I would then practice those patterns and those mechanics the next day at practice while recording myself on camera. And then after recording myself on camera, I would later compare my movements to the video recording of the NHLers that I'd just made. And at first, I was shocked at how bad I looked, right? And, here I was thinking, like, I play college hockey, like, I must move pretty well. But then when I saw in reality how I looked compared to these NHLers, it was nothing like I thought. And it was also nothing like the NHLers. And I was both like a little disgusted, but also like strangely happy, like really happy, because if you think about it, I'd gone on all along thinking I was always doing everything I could, everything in my power, because that's all there was to do, and if I didn't make it, I was just unlucky, right? Well, you know, all along, this hard work, thinking that I just get there. Well, I never actually ever had the mechanics of NHLers, so how would I ever be able to accomplish what they can accomplish, right? It doesn't make sense. And even though this wasn't the path, like this mechanics matching path was not the path that players had taken before, um, you know, and really, because I even as I watched all these other top players in the world, they weren't doing this, right? They were still working hard and in the gym and that kind of thing. And so I like seriously doubted whether this would work, but I actually didn't see any other way. So ultimately it did work. After doing this for a couple of years, I didn't sign in the NHL, but I did sign the KHL. And that was really a dream of mine, was to play pro hockey even if I couldn't play in the NHL and get paid to do what I love. And really the best part for me about applying this method and putting that in in use for 2 years was knowing that I was a completely different player than I was 2 years before. And I really felt like I wasn't the victim of the odds anymore. Like, remember how I said at the beginning that, your odds are low. Well, I didn't I didn't feel that way anymore. Like, if I got lucky, maybe I'd make it to the next level. Because now I really felt fully in control because I had access to the source of NHLers' movements. So um, that's really the story behind mechanics matching and an entirely new method of coaching that I discovered for myself and then started using with my players. So tomorrow, I want to share with you a story of how I use this method of coaching to pack 10 hours of coaching and learning into 3 minutes. And it's a really exciting story, and it's a real big opportunity for you as coaches or as players to figure out how to dramatically shorten your learning curve. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.